Alright, so this video is going to be shot in the first person like a lot of our videos. This just gives you the real life example of what I'm looking at while I'm working on something. This video here specifically goes from design to cut on a couple of basic shapes and plans. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to do a couple of basic cuts, so this will be the first in a series of videos. Watch carefully. I will explain everything piece by piece. Some of the more intricate details you'll find in other videos. However, I will be moving slowly through this in order to make sure that you guys can retain as much information as possible as we're working with what I would cut on a daily basis. So this is a typical cut today. All right, so let's go to our control system here. Okay. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to, I'm going to do something in QCAD today. Let's design something in QCAD. All right. I'm going to use my circle tool in QCAD, and I'm just going to choose center diameter. All right. We're building a QCAD portal here, or a QCAD information center, so keep that in mind. And we're going to go ahead and cut out a 5-inch diameter circle here. Now I'm going to zoom in a hair because I'm going to get a little perspective here. All right. We're going to do a 5-inch circle, and we're actually going to mount a 2-inch tube on the inside of this circle. Let's go ahead and do that. This is just a basic washer design, nothing crazy. And we're going to go ahead and attach it with 1/2-inch holes. 1/2-inch holes here. You know what I'm going to do? Yeah, you know what I'm going to do here? I'm going to redo a part of this here. This is 2 inches. This is 5 inches. We're going to go ahead and split the difference here. Let's go with a 2.5-inch circle here. See if I can get it. That's not what I want. Welcome to the realities of design when you don't exactly know exactly how you want to cut something and have to sit down and, you know what, that's what we're going to do. Cool. So I'm going to do my 1/2-inch holes exactly where I thought I was going to do them originally. This is why design can sometimes be frustrating. Sometimes you think you know exactly what you want to do and it doesn't do it. Okay, there we go. These are just offset by 1/2 inch off of the edge, so that it gives me a better look as I'm cutting with it. All right, we'll go and file and save. Fantastic. And we're just going to call this pipe bracket. B-R-A-C-K-E-T, because I spell when I talk. All right, let's go ahead and hit save. All right, let's go ahead and minimize out of QCAD here. And we're going to come down into Sheet Cam. Look at that. All right, sheet cam. One of the things I like to do is just make sure I have the right size sheet, particularly by going into options, job options. Oh, did I click that right? Okay, cool. So right now I'm working with a 23.5-inch by 23.5-inch sheet. That's approximately the size of that sheet sitting right there. So that'll work for me as long as I know that I fit within that area. I should be good to go. Let's go ahead and hit OK, because that looks good. Okay, we'll go over to File, select New Part. Now shoot, do I remember where I put that part? Okay, no, I ended up saving it to my desktop, so I can actually grab that. Okay, pipe bracket, there we go. We hit Open. Now, cool, I'm in inches, bottom left-hand corner. Okay, that'll work. We hit OK, and there is my part. I like the look of that. And in comparison to the scale of my piece, 5 inches actually seems reasonable. I can double check that. I'm right now in the pointer tool, so I can just right-click here and click Measure. Oh, there we go. Measure, and we're just going to measure from one side all the way to the other side. Yep, look at that, 5 inches, right on the money. Okay, cool. And I want to right-click and hit End Measuring. Okay. That's exactly where I want it to be. Now I have some options here. I'm cutting on 16 gauge in this case. I like that. So let's go ahead and go to Operations, Plasma Cut, Offset. I was cutting 1/4 inch earlier. We're going to do this on some 16 gauge here. I just want to show a use case here. All right, 249 inches a minute. Yeah, I can work with that. Overcut at 0.25. So it's going to cut over across the same path that it was cutting earlier by 1/4 inch. That works for me. My arc, my lead in and lead out, I'm going to set both of them to arc, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and set them to a 1/16 of an inch. Reason I'm doing that is the material that I'm working with is a 1/16 of an inch. My lead in and lead out should be exactly or just about the same as that, if not longer. Longer is always better, but I'm just going to do it at that height there, at that distance. We're going to hit OK. Okay, perfect. Let's take a look here. All right, looking at all of my pieces here, this is on the outside because I was on outside offset. Again, I'm just going to reopen that here, just re-emphasize this. Was on outside offset. My layer, I only have one layer on my image, and that's layer 0. I already set my tool to 16 gauge mild steel, which gave me my default feed rate, and I set everything else up. Okay, these blue lines show travel lines, so this is where it's going to be traveling and not cutting, and then of course the green represents when it's cutting. Looks like all of my lead-ins and lead-outs are looking good. I'm not having anything overlapping one another. I'm going to get a good clear cut out of this. Okay, that looks good to me. We're going to go ahead and click on the green P in the corner, which is the Run Post Processor. All right, and I'm just going to save that as pipe bracket and hit save. All right, everything looks like it's post-processed okay. Let's go ahead and hit OK. And going down to Mach 3. Fantastic. Here we are again. So I'm just going to click Load G-Code here. And what did I call that? PIP. Oh, pipe bracket. There we go. I can just type it in there and click on it and hit open. All right, looks like I have pipe bracket. Looks like it's not zeroed out yet. All right, we're going to want to zero it out. So I'm going to use my up, down, left, right keys here. Page up and page down to move my Z-axis. If I hit page down, I'll bring it a little closer to the material, just so I can see where I'm going to be setting it. And then using my left, right, up, down keys, I'm just going to move it. Well, you know what? I'm just going to move it right here. This is open space on the underside of my table, meaning that I'm not going to necessarily be cutting into my slats. If I don't have to do that in this case, I won't. It should be simple enough. So we'll leave that there. And we're going to have about a 1/16 of an inch off the material. Perfect. That looks good to me. Yeah, it looks like about a 1/16 of an inch off the material. Okay. Once that's done, we'll zero X, Y, Z. Hit Regen Toolpath. Okay, that screen looks good to me. All right, pipe bracket. We zeroed everything out. We have this. My plasma cutter is on. My air is all set up over there. You know what? That looks good to me. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and run with that. We're going to go ahead and hit cycle start and cycle start. One thing I probably should do is put on my safety glasses. You know, I sort of kind of like my eyeballs and would like them to stay for a while. So let's go ahead and hit cycle start here. You know, these glasses make it really difficult to see my computer screen. There we go, cycle start. And let's go to cycle start. Let's watch it. It's gonna come down, touch, lift off, and cut. There we go. Look at that. There we go. Hey, would you look at that? Okay, let's go ahead and move her up. Okay. Looks good to me. I'll take off my glasses so I can actually see. Okay. I have one of these handy dandy little magnetic dealios. Let's go ahead and reach inside of there and see what we got going on. All right. Oh, well, that is definitely not the piece that I wanted. Let's try that again. Oh, well, that wasn't it. Where is my part? So we call fishing for parts. There we go. Look at that. Would you look at that? Okay. Let's go ahead and get this off of there. Okay. Look at the cut quality on that puppy. Oh, looks like I have a little bit of divoting where my overcut is, meaning that I should probably shut off my overcut because it's not giving me the ideal cut quality I want. Okay, I think I'll go ahead and do that. I think I might cut it again. Yeah, I think I want to shut off that overcut here. Again, on something like this, I'm not going to see that same level of, I'm not going to see the deformation like I would see on 1/4 inch. I like to run 1/4 inch because my lead in and lead out tends to leave a little bit of a divot, and I want to sort of compensate for that, so overcut lets me do that. Okay, looks good to me though. That's actually not terrible. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and make a new cut because, again, I'm seeing issues with cut quality here that I don't entirely like. Not too bad on, like, there's not much in the way of top slag. Like, I could sand that off or take a wire wheel to that, and that's going to be next to nothing. Backside again, almost nothing. I just have a little bit at the lead in and lead out, and I don't like that. I think that's my overcut. I'm going to go ahead and try that again. Toss it into my slowly growing rubbish bin. We'll try that again. I'm going to go back into my sheet cam process here, go into my operations. Okay, shut off my overcut here. We're just going to return that to 0, hit OK, and then we're just going to hit File Save. Oh, nope, Run Post Processor. I'm going to hit Save. Do I want to replace it? Yes, why not? Now I run into this. Now here's a problem. If I were to run into this, this means that I probably still have it open in Mach 3. Let me go ahead and Mach 3 here. And yep, still open. We're going to close that G code here. Okay, now let's try that again. Pipe, file, run post processor, hit pipe bracket. Do I want to replace? Yes. Hey, there we go. Now it's processed. Because it was open in Mach 3, it wouldn't let me save over it. So now I can save over it because it's not in Mach 3 anymore. Let's load some G code. Let's go to our, what did I call that now? I called that something. A pipe bracket. There we go. Hit open. Fantastic. 1 and a 2. Let's go ahead and change our position here. I'm actually going to move my sheet around just a hair because, again, reason I'm moving it is because I want to put it sort of kind of over a over an open area here because I just want it to drop all the way through. Now I really should be wearing gloves. Hey, that's a good idea. Let's wear some gloves. All right, moving on. Let's move this to the bottom left-hand corner here. Good. Set that up. 1/16 of an inch off the material, bottom left-hand corner of where I want to cut from. We're going to go ahead and zero out our X, Y, and Z. 1, 2, 3. Click Regen Toolpath. All right. Now we're going to hit Cycle Start and Cycle Start. Let's watch this puppy run. Coming down, touching off. All right, let's watch her cut. 1. All right. Now it's going to keep buzzing for another 15 seconds. It's called the post flow. I wouldn't be too worried about post flow here. All right. Go ahead and grab. One thing I would say for post flow is it does save your consumables, so I wouldn't mess with it. I wouldn't want to turn it off. All right, let's take a look at that. Okay. So, putting this back to where I was. Let's take a look at that cut quality here. Again, we have a little bit of slag on the tiny holes, tiny details, we'll get that. And we have a tiny little divot here. Okay, I think I can go ahead and fix that in a minute here. Yeah, you know what? When I did my overcut, I didn't change my lead in and lead out properly. You know, I bet you I didn't. Okay, I can fix that in the program. Let's go ahead and stop the video for now. I'm going to go ahead and remake this file, make a couple of adjustments. But this is what you do on the daily basis. Sometimes when you're working with a machine, you're going to run into problems, and you want to be able to address those problems. Like, again, you see right here, I'm looking at my cut. I have this little bit of a divot here, and I don't entirely like how close that is. So I'm going to change my lead in and lead out to 0.125 and change this one to 0.125. Hit OK. Okay, that looks like it's going to give me something a little bit better. And I'm also, you know what, do I need to adjust that? 0.053. My kerf width is 0.053. You know, I'm sure that that's actually okay. We're going to hit OK. All right, now my lead in and lead out's just a little bit bigger. We're going to go File. Oop, go into Mach 3 again. Close G-code. File. Run post-processor. Save. Overwrite. Yes. Again, just on repeat. Mach 3. Load G-code. Let's go with PIP. Pipe bracket. Hit Enter. Okay, it's open. Let's go ahead and try that one more time. I'm going to shift my plate again because, again, I'm just trying to use as much open water space on this table as I can. You don't have to. I'm just trying to preserve these slats because, you know, in this case, I'm only doing small one-off pieces, and slats will get eaten up, and that's lifetime on the table, and I don't want to put that extra lifetime on this table as I'm working with it. If I can't help it, then I'm going to go ahead and cut all the way through it. But if I don't have to, then I'm just going to go ahead and let it drop through and fish it out because it's simple enough to pick up. Okay, let's move our table around. Look at that. Okay. Coming down. Now you'll find as you're working with your table, you might start to talk to yourself as well, or at least talk to the table and say, hey, why aren't you doing what you're supposed to do? We're going to go 0xyz. Again, here we go. Regen toolpath. We're going to see if we can get this. Cycle start. Let's move to position. Come down, make that cut. All right, here we go. Hey, that looks a little bit better. Yeah, there we go. Much better. We can already see no divoting right there. Hey, there we go. Let's move it up. Let's do this again. Go table fishing. There she is. Now I know where she's fallen. Okay, take a look at that. Hey, all right, take a look at that. We only have a little tiny drop there, right there where the lead in and lead out is. I like that. And that's just so little slag there on these holes. I'm sure I could go through and be even more, let's call it anal, about the clarity of the cut on this one. I can come through, or I could just take 2 seconds, hit it with a wire wheel, and it's clean and able to go out. Do I want to take that extra time to process something that maybe I'm only going to be making a one-off of? You know, if you're interested in doing that, please feel free to be my guest. But I can still retain a similar level of quality just by using a wire wheel and cleaning it up off of this. Because again, this is next to nothing in terms of slag on the rest of it. Look at that. You really only have the one or two little rough spots. There. So, all right, we'll keep that the way it is. Yeah, I'm actually going to take that over here. Set that on my table to get hit with a wire wheel, and then I'll send that off to the other shop. They'll be able to use that. All right. That being said, there's the end of one of our basic cuts. Again, forcefully went through a couple of different scenarios where you're going to make adjustments for cut quality, showing you what I look for when I'm working with a piece, sort of my thought process, because again, if this is your first time diving into this isn't a normal thought process, and you have to go through and go, hey, where is my value going to be? And I decided with that part, I'm just going to take a wire wheel to it, and that is within tolerance to hand off to the customer to then work with. Now, you can, again, become more anal and get further and further towards perfection. However, with a plasma cutter, the problem is plasma isn't going to give you that laser cut quality. That's why it's a laser. So there's some give and take there, and when you look at the part, you go, okay, everywhere else doesn't have slag. That's going to literally take me with a wire wheel probably close to 10 seconds to hit that once, twice, 3 times, just to make sure that it's all cleaned up, and then it's good to go. All right. Well, then go ahead and check out some of the other videos here. This is just one of many showing you the process of cutting. Now, not all of them are going to be quite long as this. Some of them are just going to be me going 1, 2, 3, cut, out the door, and done. This one, I just wanted to explore a little bit more, show you a little bit more of the process of making a cut and finding the problems, fixing the problems, and pushing it out the door.